30% of you said listening to Hashtag Impact inspired you to start your own purpose-driven projects. 10% of you have donated to causes featured on the show. 70% of you said you've gained a deeper insight into the organizations we spotlight. You are listening to Hashtag Impact, a podcast about stuff that matters. I am Regina Larco, and today's episode is all about you. This podcast wouldn't be what it is without you. And together, we're building something truly, truly special here. And I do not talk about that enough. That's why today's episode is a bit different, as it will only be my voice sharing today. It's really been a moment since we launched in 2017. And instead of doing what we are so good at, like rushing to all the things that are yet to be done, I want you to take a short moment with me and see what we've built together here, you and me, yeah? When I think about why I started Hashtag Impact, it was to share stories that spark action. And we've done that. From launching purpose-driven podcasts to helping change makers step into their power, the ripple effects of this podcast has reached far and wide, and I couldn't be prouder. Today, I want to really show you the impact that you've made. I also want to talk about the moments that have made an impact on me on a very personal level. And of course, I want to look ahead and look at how we, you and me, can take our mission to the next level. Okay, so, let's look at those numbers one more time, right? That was just so amazing for me to see when we surveyed you, our wonderful listener, sharing that 30% of you said that listening to Hashtag Impact inspired you to start your own purpose-driven projects. Isn't that amazing? 10% of you have donated to causes featured on the show. And 70% said that you gained a deeper insight into the organizations we spotlight. Actually, adding on to those 70%, I know that for certain how powerful that is, something that is maybe a bit abstract, like gaining a deeper insight into the organization we spotlight. What does that actually mean? If we see that taking shape, it is actually guests of ours that have told me that the people that have come in to work with them in their organization have actually gotten an insight about their organization through the podcast. And it has inspired something in them that they knew this is an organization I also want to work for. That's someone I want to be involved with. Something that goes beyond of what you just see on a website. To actually listen to a founder of an organization, a executive director of an organization sharing why they are passionate about the work and what got them first started. It inspires their team as well. And that makes me so happy. And it is really these individual stories that completely blow me away when I get the chance to also see this in action as you share about the impact the podcast has made on you, be it on your socials or if you're just reaching out in personal message to me. Yeah. One listener found the courage, and that was such a beautiful story, to launch her own purpose-driven business. Because listening to others do impactful work had sparked something in her. And it was that push that she really needed to finally go for it. Yeah, if you are listening, you know who you are. I'm so proud of you. Another listener took action a different way. She discovered an organization featured on the show and reached out to them and started volunteering with them. And what is so powerful about that story is that I actually reached out to this listener and asked if she'd be willing to share her story on the podcast. So hearing it from her perspective as she shares her discovery process of finding out about this NGO and then starting to volunteer with them has been so amazing. Actually, I'm going to put it in the show notes for you if you want to go back and hear that story. Yeah. Another listener, and I'm smiling now because this is something that I didn't really anticipate, and it makes me smile, and maybe you will even laugh out loud now. But this listener shared that he felt comfort and ease when listening to the podcast. When he had trouble falling asleep, it helped him fall asleep. So now #Impact has become a companion for a restful evening. And of course, this counts just as much. This counts too. You use this podcast however you want, in whatever way it inspires you, in whatever way it helps you. And I'm so grateful for all this open and honest feedback I received. You can, if you haven't shared your feedback, you can still do that. This feedback sheet is open all the time because I want to learn how I can also support you better and how I can make this podcast as impactful and valuable as possible for you. So I'll add that link in the show note as well if you would like to drop me a line on what you would want to hear on this podcast as well. And I'm taking a deep breath now because I really do not want to forget about you. You, the incredible podcaster, the incredible new podcaster that I've had the honor to support. There are now more purpose-driven podcasts out there in the world because of you and because of the work we've done together. You, just like me, started with that idea of wanting to start a podcast, and now your podcast is out there, amplifying voices, driving change, highlighting topics that are otherwise underrepresented, and you are making an impact of your own. Actually, just a little teaser, I'm planning something very special for you podcaster with impact. So look out for that. I will be sharing more about that, how we're going to create something really, really, really special together here for you on this channel. One of the greatest joys has been to help tell these stories of these incredible change makers, but also to help bring people like you, as you are bringing your own podcasting dreams to life. I've supported people from all over the world, taking them from, I think I want to start a podcast, to actually launching shows that are aligned with their values and their mission. And I also do not talk about this enough. You maybe even just hear that for the very first time, that not only do I run this podcast as a host and producer, but that I also support others starting and growing their own podcasts too. So when you do work with me, here's what we do together. We clarify your message and your purpose so that you are really clear on what you want to say and why it matters. We create a format that feels authentic to you. And of course, we work through all the technical stuff, because it can be overwhelming. It was for me, for sure, when I started. But I'll guide you every step of the way. And most importantly, I'll help you to build the confidence to share your story with the world. I know it's not an easy task for for you, just as it was hard for me to get started. But that's what I do. And that's what really drives me and inspires me. And when you invest in one-on-one coaching with me, you're also creating impact that goes beyond yourself and beyond your own podcast. Because for every podcast coaching client that I work with, I give away a free fellowship spot to someone from an NGO or a marginalized community. So together, you and me, we are again amplifying voices that need to be heard, that can now also get that spotlight and step on their own podcasting stage. Because yes, as powerful as it is to be featured on a wonderful podcast, I know there's a lot of impact there. There is so much impact in having your own channel where you speak directly to your beneficiaries, to your community, to your sponsors, to your donors, to your clients. There is so much value in it if that is done well. And I will be there every step of the way to support everyone that comes into my programs, to help them tell their stories in a way that is the most impactful. And it lights me up so much. And I want to look ahead how I will continue to do that. But I also want to take a moment to reflect on some recent highlights. One of the proud moments of my own podcasting journey has been that I also started teaching podcasting at Johns Hopkins University. I say a huge thank you for John Lim, who recommended me to become a course instructor there. And it's been going absolutely amazing, and seeing students step like really into their creative power as they realize the impact their stories could have. It is so humbling, and it's going to be so excited. I'm excited, and it is exciting to continue teaching there as well. And on a very, very personal note, I will also never, ever, ever in my life, and I get really worked up about this because I think I only just realize now how much that actually meant, that I could sit down for a live podcast recording in Hong Kong, in the birthplace of the podcast, the birthplace Hong Kong, where it all started. And not only could I sit there with former guests of mine, with guest hosts of mine, with collaborators and partners that have been so supportive, but I could also do all this, record this podcast with my 3 young kids sitting in the front row. And my husband was there, and just seeing my kids, like wave at me as they were sitting in the front row, and they themselves witnessing firsthand the power of storytelling, and to witness the work that I'm doing. It meant everything. It means everything. And of course, you will be the first to also hear the episode when it airs. Yeah. Better yet, if you want to always get notified when our new episodes drop, and also get an inside view of what happened behind the scenes, where I share a little bit the making of each individual episode and how it all came together, you will love the monthly love letter that we are sending out. And you can, I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Oh, there'll be a lot to dig in those show notes today for you. Yeah. Okay. That was really special. And you were part of all of this because you were there listening, and you hear how this story evolves. You have been listening here for years and years and years and have seen it all come together. Or you are listening here for the very first time, and you have the chance to go back to the episodes we aired the last 8 years, and you can dig in and see the early days, and you can now continue to be part of that journey. And as I do look ahead, I am dreaming bigger. My vision is to create this inclusive space where anyone with a story that inspires positive change has the tools and the support and the confidence to share it with the world. And here is how you can become part of this. There are 2 simple ways, really. If you like what you're hearing here, then tell others about it. Tell your friend about it. Share an episode on your socials. Put it in one of your newsletters that you are sending out to your community. Help spread the word and just tell someone about this podcast and how it's been meaningful to you and how it can be meaningful to that special person in your life as well. And the second way how you can help to achieve our vision is to start working with me. If you want to start a podcast yourself, then let's work together on it. My one-on-one program is open for you. You can start anytime. You just reach out to me and we talk about how this could look like. Before we wrap up now, I just want to say thank you. Really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking action. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for filling out that feedback form. Thank you for being part of this community. Whether you've started your own impact project, whether you've donated to one of the amazing causes that we featured here, or whether you've simply tuned in regularly to fall asleep in a bit more nourishing way, yeah? Whether you shared an episode with a friend, or maybe you even reach out to become a guest host here on the show. Yeah, I mean, this is possible as well. If you want to host one of these beautiful episodes, interview recordings, if there's a person in your life that you feel you want to have a conversation with this changemaker and you would want everyone to know about this amazing changemaker that is in your life, yeah? Maybe you are volunteering for an organization that is amazing. Maybe your brother is doing amazing work. Social impact focused, purpose-driven work. We want to hear about it. So if you would want to come on as a guest host on this show, you can. Just reach out to me. Send me an email. hello@hashtagimpact.com. I'll put all the links in the show notes, I will. So in whatever way or form you are listening here, in whatever way or form you are engaging here, you are creating ripples of impact that go far beyond you can see. It goes far beyond. And oftentimes it might even be visible to you like years and years and years later. There's like this long gratification in the social impact work that we humans are not so good to deal with. We want instant gratification. We've become addicted to it actually, haven't we? I mean, definitely, haven't we? Just checking our likes and stuff. Like, I know it's so hard to want to see that immediate impact, that immediate like, that immediate gratification. But I know that what you are actually aiming for, that meaning and that purpose that you are looking for, it is available to you. As for me here on #Impact Podcast, I know that the impact of this podcast goes way beyond download numbers. It goes way beyond likes on social media. What you and me are doing here together is creating a legacy of leveraging our unique voices to inspire positive change in the world. Your voice matters. Use it to make an impact. So let's just keep building something beautiful together here. And let's keep making an impact.